Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at 4070 Ti and see how well it performs in Fortnite at 1440p. We're going to take a look at the epic and high settings and resolution scaling on quality and balanced, and we're going to also look at hardware ray tracing on and off. A couple things to keep in mind while you're looking through this is that hardware ray tracing impacts performance by maybe 10%, if even that, as well as keep an eye on the average FPS as we're going through different sceneries like inside a building or in a city versus around trees, and you'll get a better idea of what kind of FPS that you can expect in different scenery. So first we're going to start off on 1440p, epic, native, and hardware ray tracing is going to be turned off. So starting out here inside a castle, we're at 80 and 78, which we did a video yesterday at 4K, and starting off we're seeing around 35 at epic settings on native. So we are at, what is this, 40 FPS uptick. So there's definitely a considerable performance increase by going to 1440p over 4K, which is pretty common knowledge. Anyway, starting off, not much going around here. We're just running down the road over a bridge, and FPS is starting to drop down a bit to 60. Now watch when we start going towards the trees. There's a lot more for the GPU to render because there's trees, leaves, all this other stuff. So you'll definitely notice the FPS start to dip below 60 at this point. So there we go. Now we're starting to get in the low 50s and high 50s just from walking around within the trees. There's no battles going on yet, no gunfights. So this kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. And this is usually where I find the biggest performance hit is when you're running through the woods. So overall, going through castles, a little bit in the woods and stuff like that, we're still maintaining an average of 65 FPS. Our 1% low is around 40, and the 0.1% low is at 22. So now we're going to go and turn ray tracing on, and here's where you need to keep an eye on the FPS, because it's going to dip just a little bit when we turn it on. So it went from like 69, 70 down to 63, 64. So it's about 10% or less impact the performance just by turning ray tracing on. Alright, let's go outside and see how it handles with a little bit of scenery instead of inside a castle. I'm surprised being around water doesn't impact it more than it does. Alright, so that's probably a good enough idea of how much ray tracing is going to impact it. So we're going to turn ray tracing off, and we're going to turn resolution down to quality, and then I'm going to die. So starting a new game here with on quality and ray tracing off, we are at, well, it's hovering quite a bit, around 80s, 95. So fast forward a little ways, I'm following essentially the same path as I did last time, and here we're averaging around 107 FPS versus 65-ish when we're at native resolution. Coming here into the woods, we're starting to see things drop down around 100, below 100, so still maintaining pretty high FPS. The 1% low is at 60, with the 1.1% low at 30. So there hasn't been any real frame time spikes just yet. So we're going to go here and turn ray tracing on and see what kind of performance we get now. So as you notice, it went right off the bat, it went from 99 down to about 93, 94. So it's a little less than a 10% hit to performance. So we've been running around for a few minutes now, and you can see the average is now sitting at around 92, with the current FPS at 80, 85, 86, and the 1% lows have dropped a little bit to 58, and the same with the 0.1% lows. So still managing to get a fairly high frame rate at this point. So we're going to move on and turn ray tracing off. We're going to move the resolution back up to native and turn the presets down to high. Once this is applied, we can see that there's been a little bit of a dip to performance, but that's because we're now at native resolution. So reset MSI so we can get an accurate read on how we're going to be doing at these settings. So of course, being inside a castle like this, there's not a whole lot to render compared to like the trees and everything moving outside, so we're getting close to 100 FPS. Alright, so we're going to jump ahead a few minutes, and our average frame rate now has dropped to 93. We're going to run through some woods here, and we're going to see the frame rate drop even more. It's going to hit around 80. So we're still getting pretty high frame rate after being in these settings for the past few minutes. And if you compare this back to what we were getting under Epic, we're up a little over 20 FPS. So this is a pretty good representation of what you can expect. High presets at native resolution. So now we're going to go and turn hardware ray tracing on and see what kind of performance we get here. So we went from 88 down to 84, 83. Again, it's not a huge change in performance. And I don't know if that's because software ray tracing is doing a lot of the work and then the hardware ray tracing is coming in and layering on top of that, or did they just make that much of a leap with the 40 series GPUs in ray tracing performance? I guess I'll have to test this out in some other games to see how that works. Alright, well, we're going to jump ahead about a minute, and we're still averaging around 82 FPS. The 1% lows at 51 and 0.1% lows at 29. Again, no major frame time spikes that I've noticed. Still performing fairly well. So with that being said, I think this is a good enough representation of what you could expect with ray tracing on at this setting. So let's go turn ray tracing off, and we'll drop the resolution scaling down to quality. Now we'll reset MSI. And there we go. I got a big boost up to like from low 90s up to almost 130. So let's see if we can maintain this FPS over the next few minutes, or is it going to dip down being outside. Well, we're jumping ahead a little bit here, and we're still averaging about 125 FPS. So I've jumped to this point in time because very soon I'm going to die, and we're going to be starting a new game. So we're going to go ahead and turn ray tracing on, jump into a new game, and see how well it goes. Getting not a whole lot being rendered right now, where we're on top of a building, so we're still seeing about 135 FPS. So here's a problem that I'm starting to run into, is that we are getting into much higher frame rates, that my 5900X is starting to become the bottleneck. So someone with a much faster CPU will be able to push more performance out of this GPU than what I can at this point. I do plan on upgrading my system, I just don't know when I'm going to be able to get around to it. To get probably a 7900X, just so I can have a better comparison of a 5900X boost in performance when going to a 7900X, but we will see. And of course, I had to fall off a cliff and almost lose all my health. Alright, now here we are, a few minutes ahead in time, gone through more buildings, some wooded areas and all that, and we're still managing to hold 126 average FPS. The 1% low is at 71 and the 0.1% low is at 38. So fortunately there hasn't been any real frame time spikes. Even at the low end we're averaging pretty high FPS. There's been a couple of fights here and there, nothing too big. As you can see, I'm still practically dead. So one thing to keep of note is that we haven't hit that 144 Hz sweet spot that a lot of monitors can handle right now. However, my CPU is what's bottlenecking this GPU. We probably could hit quite a bit higher than 126 average if my CPU could keep up. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Have a good night.